We
stop
lost
and
Jeb. I did.
she got scared. Like there are other people. Let me back up.
A lot of people that are going to be doing this one, looks like. Hello, everybody. Actually let everybody in a couple of minutes early, so we're not completely set up and ready to go, but I wanted to see if anybody had any pressing questions, kind of get to know who's on the call. And we'll kick this off in a couple of minutes. So I see Rob's got his camera on. What's up, Rob? How you doing?
You're on mute, sir. Still on mute.
How's it going, Rob?
Yeah, okay. I was wanted to see if some people I knew I was part of a mastermind group with April Crossley. I don't know if some of those people joined or not. Anyway.
Yeah, looks like everybody's joining here.
Anyway. Oh, there's April.
All right, we're gonna kick this off in 1 minute. Mr. Kevin Carroll.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hola. And there's Cody. Hey, Cody.
Hello. So I'm
How's it
at the
going,
right
Cody?
meeting here.
You're at the right meeting. Yeah.
Great.
All right, we're gonna give it a couple of minutes to let everybody in. So I have to say that I have an exceptional team member, and she's going to be helping me with this call today. We got a lot of people joining. And she's actually going to take this call to another level higher up than what I was planning on. So let's see here.
Boss, you're killing her.
Yeah, I'm killing her. She's a rock star.
Yep.
She's so good. Yeah, Jason, that's good, buddy. So this is actually a mixture of two groups. I want to be very, very clear. So this is, we're doing this primarily for our ICE community. And we figured since we were doing that we would throw it out there for the forefront users to jump in and have a conversation here with us today about what's going on. And the primary reason why I wanted to do this call was because we've had a lot of issues just within our own real estate company, you know, getting everything registered. I mean, it's been an interesting kind of runaround that we've been getting. Sorry, I'm in the middle of Kevin, I'm gonna make you co-host so that way you can let people in, because I'm sitting here letting people in trying to talk and my ADD brain does not do that well.
That'll work.
So, okay. Okay. So anyway, the point is that we have ran into all kinds of crazy issues when we're trying to register, partly my fault as the ADD owner operator, and not not getting things to the team when they needed it. And then partly just because it's been kind of a moving target. So one of the reasons why we wanted to have this call here today was to kind of go through, what to expect, what hurdles to expect, what are some of the things to do to not run into the same issues that we ran into. So, and then also go through Jeb. I have Jeb here, who is our ops person. She has been working with me through now 3 different companies, right, Jeb? Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I will say this, and she's going to demand more money when I say it, but I probably couldn't find my left hand without her help at this point in time. So she has been an asset to everything we're doing. She's ran all of our, smartphone, CRM, KPIs, workflows. I mean, she's just done so many things within our real estate operation. I've had her do other things within other businesses as well. And now she is the basically building out all the customer support, rebuilding out all the customer support in the Forefront arena. So, and she's doing a lot of that for Forefront and building out some tremendous things that are going to help with the Forefront community and onboarding and customer support. So she is well knowledged in the challenges that we have as real estate investors. She's well knowledged in the challenges that VAs have and other employees have as being our employees, obviously. And so we're going to jump into this and just kind of have a conversation about some of the things that she's dealt with. So real quick, I want to be clear, this is open to questions. We are definitely wanting to make sure that all the questions here are answered, that anything that anybody's struggling with TCPAA or anything regarding that is answered, and ultimately no stone goes unturned. So with that said, Jeb, I know you prepared a little presentation, so I'm going to let you kind of run with that for now, and then we'll jump into questions and hurdles and that kind of thing.
All right, let me share my screen now. That was a very long introduction, Abby, but thank you, boss.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, here we go. All right, so can you guys see my screen?
We can.
Just want to make sure. All right, perfect. Hello, everyone. So my name is Jeb. I'm here to talk about the new industry standard for business communications. As you may know, your voice and SMS web app providers may have been asking you to register a business profile for A2P, 10DLC, CNAM, Shaken, Steer, and all that. So in this presentation, I'll be walking you through a flowchart I created that simplifies how these processes work. I'll also be providing some tips on how to get started with registration. And my goal is just to make this easier for us all to understand how these processes work and their significance in the industry. So to proceed here, so this flowchart is just cut off in 3 parts in the presentation. So to start off, when it comes to business communications, we are using communication providers like smartphone, dial pad, call rail, just call. I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with that. You may have noticed banners or notifications urging you to create a business profile. These providers typically already have a Trust Hub or Trust Center page where you can register your business profile. But what exactly is that business profile? So consider it as your ID within the provider's ecosystem, as well as in the eyes of the mobile carriers like AT&T, T-Mobile, etc. So your business profile establishes your identity and reputation within the business communication traffic industry and all that. The first step that you, when you go to register your business profiles, you're going to see fields that you're going to fill in for business information and points of contact. Um, when creating your business profile, it is crucial to ensure that the information you enter matches exactly as it appears in your articles of organization or other official business documents. This includes following the correct format, including capitalization, spaces, dashes, and other elements. Also, email, phone, your business website. Remember that the domain must match your business name. Some providers may also request a social media page like Facebook to establish connection and maintain consistency across your website and your social media page. You can also upload your LinkedIn website. There are several instructions depending on the provider that you have. Then your business type, LLC, nonprofit, sole proprietor, depending on what kind of business type you have. Business industry, real estate, there's a drop down in there and you can just choose on that drop down. Business registration type, these are stock entity, some of that, and then your business registration number is your EIN number, or sorry, I was hearing echo. Okay, going back, your EIN or your employee identification number, it is critical that your business name and address match exactly as they are listed in your EIN. So if you don't know your EIN, you can search that in online, or you can find your company's W-2 form or any relevant local or tax filings available online. If you need the website, I can share it to you in the chat later. And then in the business profile, there's also a point of contact. The provider will ask for two, but the second one is optional. So whoever is in your articles or in your paper should be who you're going to put in the authorized representative in your point of contact. So it could be yourself as well. Once done, the approval process for your business profile submission can take up to 72 hours, but it depends on your provider. Some could take a week and 3 to 7 business days.
Yeah, just let me jump in here before you go down a little further.
Okay.
We've gotten kicked back a few times. You want to cover some of that, or are you doing that later?
How we've been kicked back was that our website domain did not match our business name. So for example, your business name is ABC and your website domain is DEF. Most likely your application is going to be rejected. But in our provider, they asked us for a social media page that covers what is the connection of our website to our business social media page.
So
Media
just
page and
for
website. Yep.
yeah, just for instance, Jeb went in and set up a Facebook page and then put our website on that Facebook page. And so the website at that point could be different from our company name. And that was one of the things we overcame. And then we also had a challenge too about checkboxes and whatnot on our website as well, right?
Yes, boss. I'll cover that in the later
Okay.
part.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Yep. All right. So after you've set up your business profile, this is where verified voice and verified SMS, the protocols and procedures come in. It's like CNAM, steer shaken, A2P, 10 DLC. So just to give a quick overview, CNAM stands for caller ID name. This only has 15 characters only. Steer shaken means secure telephony identity revisited or secure handling of asserted information using tokens. Both of these, CNAM and steer shaken, they're important because firstly, it helps reduce the chances of your phone number being marked as spam by carriers. And secondly, it makes it significantly more difficult for scammers to manipulate your phone number for caller ID purposes, resulting in fewer instances of phone number identity theft. In most cases, your provider will automatically implement CNAM and STIR shaken for you once your business profile is approved. If not, you can manually set them up or ask your provider for assistance. For A2P 10 DLC or application to person 10-digit long code, this process is much more complicated than the verified voice. So it has two important requirements: brand and campaign you're using. But I hope that I'll be able to shed some light on this complicated procedure. So A2P 10DLC was created by carriers in response to the growing problem of spam and fraud SMS messages. And registering your messages to A2P 10DLC will see better deliverability, reducing the spam and fraud, and increased trust between end user and your business. So here is how, or the steps to register A2P 10DLC. First, your business profile, the brand registration. There's two types in there. Low volume, this is used if you are sending less than 6,000 messages a day with a one-time fee of $4. And then standard, if you are sending more than 6,000 messages a day with a one-time fee of $44. For A2P campaign use case creation, there are 4 fields in there that you're also gonna fill in. In our case, in the provider, you're gonna choose marketing, public service announcement, two-factor authentication, depending on what your business is. But for us in the real estate, we're gonna be using marketing, or you can also use mixed marketing. There's also an option for that. Once you choose that, there's a second box there for use case description, which will be just a description. This description should be just be thorough, and you provide an explanation of your campaign objective and purpose. So, and then let's say, for example, you are choosing marketing. You can describe it in the box as I'm using this campaign marketing to send text messages to customers for marketing purposes. This includes sending messages to promote new products, services, offer discounts, coupons, just like that. So make it a brief description of why you are using marketing as your use case type. And then next is the 2 sample messages. First box will be, you could include an opt-in or your opt-out message. And like, for example, don't miss our upcoming event, RSVP today to save your spot, reply stop to unsubscribe, just like that. So you input 2 of those sample messages that you send to your end users. Make note or ensure that your sample message doesn't come across as soliciting information. Instead, aim to create a message that simply confirms the details that you already have when recipients express interest in your messages. Although individuals may not have explicitly opted in to receive our real estate marketing messages, we want to give them the impression that they have filled out a form. So lastly is your message flow. It consists of the end user consent. This is where the website form with checkbox is in, and then opt in and opt out keywords message like start, stop, and etc. So message flow is basically like where can carriers see proof that you are asking for consent to send text to people. Here is an example of a website form. You know, typically in our business, we always have that contact us page where people sign up to get our services or offers. Make sure to revisit your privacy policy or terms and conditions and make sure that there's a checkbox for consent. Once you have that, so it's just like this: by submitting this form and signing up for checks, you consent to receive marketing text messages from your company name at the number provided, including messages sent by auto dialer. Consent is not a condition of purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Unsubscribe at any time by replying stop or clicking the unsubscribe link. So that's that. And your opt-in and opt-out keywords, it could be start, stop, and stop all, do not call, like those kind of keywords. You should have those in the message flow as well. And yeah, lastly, you're just gonna monitor your status after that. You're gonna know if it's verified or failed. The carrier review will take an average of 7 days as well.
So Jeb, it was launch control. And just to kind of put this in perspective, everybody, launch control approved us. And then what was it? About 2 months later, they came back and said, we have to resubmit.
Yes, so launch control initially approved our business profile. They did the implementation of our A2P 10 DLC, but then they came back to us and notified us that our website lacked the consent form, the checkbox. So I think it's a new update from the A2P 10 DLC requirements. That's why they came back to us 2 months later. But after that, we just updated our website and put in a checkbox to for consent to our end users, and that's it.
So the point I want to make there is even like we had challenges, obviously, when we submitted because our domain names don't match our company name. I mean, that's, you know, you don't usually have, I guess some people register a corporation and their domain will match their corporation, their company brand will match their corporation. You know, we have several different domains that we market under. We have several different companies that we do things under. So these things don't all match. And that was one of the challenges that we ran into. And I'm sure other people will too. You know, your holding company that you're buying in may not match your brand. And so the way around that was the Facebook page with the domain that we were using to register. You know, but that was a hurdle that we had to overcome. Yeah. And then, for instance, Flip Talk, okay, so is owned by Random Noise. Random Noise is the corporation that owns the Flip Talk brand and so on and so forth. Throw that out there. And so we're getting ready to register Random Noise, but you know, all of our domains are Flip Talk and whatnot. So we obviously had to go out, and I was able to buy Random Noise. Thank God Random Noise Media is actually the company name. So it was available, but in some cases it's not. And so we're just going to register Random Noise. Some of the things also that I wanted to make sure that was clear is that this does seem to be a moving target. You know, all these companies are trying to figure this out. So even if you do everything right, like we believe we've done everything right and we've been approved. Have we been approved yet, Kate, by smartphone? I mean, not Kate, Jeb, by smartphone?
No, they still haven't gotten back.
And when did you update everything? That was what, a week ago?
Yes, yep.
Okay. So timelines, you know, they may be backed up in registration. Timelines are a little off. Even when you get a yes, they may come back to you and tell you that it's changed. We found that it's a huge moving target. And so it's important to get ahead of this and to do these things as early as possible and to respond to them as quickly as possible if there's any updates you need to do. So, Jeb, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
Just some other tips as well, or frequently asked questions by some other business owners. Do you get penalty for non-compliance? Yes, you do. Depending on the carrier, fines may start from $1,000 up to $10,000, depending on the violation. So for example, if you're sending messages that has content violation, these include spam, phishing, shaft violations, like the hate, tobacco, firearms, like that. These violations cost 10,000, and messaging program evasion, like using filtering evasion techniques such as snowshoeing, recycling numbers, releasing, purchasing new numbers to dilute your number reputation. These could be up to $1,000 fine. And then notice, this is a notice from Twilio, the shutdown of unregistered 10 DLC messaging. Effective July 5, 2023, all 10 DLC phone numbers used to send SMS and MMS messages to US phone numbers must be fully registered to an approved campaign under your brand. Because messages sent using unregistered phone numbers will be subject to a gradual increase of message blocking by Twilio beginning on July 5. And then ultimately leading to a full block of all unregistered US bound messages sent after August 31st of 2023.
One of the things that also came up in our ICE meeting, or last week, we had a virtual meeting, and this is a topic of discussion to throw out there. All of these campaigns that you're registering are tied back to your EIN number. So if you get a violation, you get shut down, it shuts down your EIN. That one campaign can shut down your EIN, and your EIN will no longer be able to re-register or send out messages and that kind of thing. So that's the information we have as an obstacle. So it becomes very, very important to make sure that you are following protocol. The other thing that came up in the conversation, we haven't been able to verify yet, but it seems to be true, because we have this moving target, is that if you do the things you need to do to get verified, for instance, you have the checkbox consent form on your website and so on and so forth. If you remove those things after you've been approved, they could be coming back and checking to make sure, spot checking from time to time to make sure that these things are still in place. I don't know the bandwidth they have to even really do that in reality, but if you find to be out of compliance after you have been approved, you're going to end up with issues as well. And one of those issues could be banning your EIN from re-registering any campaigns in the future as well. So let's open the floor to any questions. Go ahead.
I have questions. Yeah, so I have some questions. First, a little bit sequence question. So I basically do I get return calls on my direct mail, and I do email marketing, and I do some, but I don't do a lot of outbound text marketing. I sometimes respond to them. So that's one thing. And I do, like, I use my marketing mostly is done via Deal Machine. And when I get a call back, then of any kind of response, and it comes back, and that's in Forefront, then I deal with, sort of real responses, not just, so do I need to, register Deal Machine and Forefront is one question. I know I do follow up, use Forefront to follow up with somebody who's actually responded to some marketing thing. So
okay, so I'm assuming you're asking the question, you have phone numbers that are bought.
I have
the
phone numbers are Forefront numbers right now.
Okay.
So I will change them to either, smartphone or CallRail.
Right.
I'll use one of those two. So, I think I don't think that'll be hard. You just sign up and use it. And, but do I need to then, so that's one question that I have is Deal Machine and Forefront. I'm using both.
So if the wherever the phone number originates, if it's a smartphone number or a call rail number, regardless if you're using it through Forefront or Deal Machine, you only register it at the provider level. So that's the deal. You register it at the provider level. You do have to register the company. And the way I understand it, Jeb, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm the one that's not paying attention to this half the time, is you do have to register each campaign as well. So basically each phone number needs to be registered, right, Jeb?
No need.
Okay.
You can just select which phone numbers that you want in your campaign.
So I do have,
Yeah.
so I need to register each phone number. Is that correct?
You need to register the company in each campaign. Whatever campaigns you're going to be sending out, you need to register. So you can select the phone numbers that are tied to the campaign. She just
Okay.
corrected me. So
Okay, so it's the phone numbers. The other thing as I have is I have, as far as, I obviously have an EIN address. I know what that is, for my tax return. But for my direct mail, I have a post office box with the USPS, post office. So, I mean, so I don't know that anyway, I don't know what to do about that. That's so that when I send mail out and it comes back undeliverable, then it's going to not to my home address.
right.
So
So
how do I deal with addresses?
okay, so the address, and again, Jeb, I'm probably stepping in here, but the company, whatever the address the company is registered at, is the address you use when you. So if your home address is your company address, then that's the one you use to register. Doesn't matter
Okay.
where your mail goes.
Okay.
Yeah, our company address is a box at a like a postal annex. And that's what we use for our company address, because I don't want people showing up at my office, unannounced and that kind of thing either. So, but we just registered that address as our company address because that's what's on our corporate papers.
And
So
anybody, I guess my final question would be, anybody like with Deal Machine, I'm starting to use other drivers. Deal Machine is, you can drive, and I do that. But so I don't really need to bother with them because they'll just be using my phone. They're driving, and the phone number, the calls will come in via one of the phone numbers. So I would just register those campaigns would be all right. Is that correct?
the primary thing you need to be concerned about is the text messages going out on the numbers that are assigned to you.
Okay.
And what those campaigns are, whether or not those campaigns are registered or not. And I don't know like how, I mean, Jeb, you might be able to answer this, but I don't know how, like, does your campaign have to match exactly with what you registered, or can there be variations of it, or what, Jeb? Do you know the answer to that yet?
I just know that if your business is, for example, you are a shop account, let's say, and you are mainly focused on delivery notifications. In the marketing type or the use type in A2P 10 DLC, you choose delivery notifications. And you should, pinpoint or connect your description, your sample messages to your delivery notifications. Like, how do you send those delivery notifications? It's the same as well if you're in a customer care center. So how do you deliver, your customer support through text messages? So it should be connected to what your market is or what your campaign is.
Okay, yeah,
Hope
that's
that
something,
answers it.
so that would be, so they would, in my case, I receive incoming calls, and sometimes I will respond to them because sometimes they're voicemail message, you can't understand them, and all kinds of things come up. But anyway, so it mainly is for me, I think it would be, my campaigns would be my phone numbers, I believe.
Yes, your phone numbers. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's, then I'm gonna jump in and see what I can do. This is helpful.
Okay. Yeah. So we have a question here from Connor, it looks like, and he says basically, we had to register our business several months ago. We were using Lead Sherpa. Do we have to register again? Connor, I don't know if you're asking because you changed providers or not. Launch Control came back to us and asked us to re-register or resubmit. So whether or not you need to, again, with Lead Sherpa is going to probably be up to them notifying you that you do or not, just so to answer that. Do we have to register each numbers or just the business that all the numbers are under, Jeb? Do they have to register each number or just the business that all the numbers are under? It's just the business, right?
Just the numbers that you're using in your business. Yes.
So the business and then the numbers you're using.
Yes.
Okay.
Any phone numbers that you have in your campaign, those should be on that campaign, if that makes sense.
John, I have a question. So if we have a different platform, like for example, launch control, and we switch it to forefront, what happens to the numbers? And we are already registered in launch control. What happens to those numbers now? Because now we are not using those numbers.
If you were to take launch control and you were to port all your numbers over to smartphone, for instance, then you would have to re-register through smartphone.
The same number, because we are porting out those
You'd
numbers
have to register your business for approval, and then you'd have to tie those numbers to your campaigns.
again. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Once registered, if we are not prospecting with SMS and only following up and contacting existing leads, would there still be a need for the opt-out message, Jeb?
For that, it doesn't necessarily have to be all text messages that you're sending out. It's just when you're submitting your A2P and DLC registration, because we want to let the carriers know that we are following their standards, that we have opt-in and opt-out keywords, that the end users are safe to unsubscribe to us anytime. So like that.
I would say that when we're replying in our business to text messages to people that we're already having conversations with or people that we've had conversations with previously, we're not using the opt-out language. But I don't know. I can't answer whether or not we are in violation or not. So
as long if we receive any keywords like stop, and we generally just don't text back with the lead anymore. We respect their decision to whatever they said. Do not call, do not text me, stop, just end, stuff like that. So yeah.
which is a deviation. I'll be honest, for years, they would say, don't call or don't whatever. We'd still mail and call, but we don't do that anymore. And let's see here, when used to have to, when you used to have to rotate messages in order to not flag, will that still be necessary after an emergency? Okay, basically the whole having to rotate messages on a regular basis that you do with like a launch control, or I know that's an exercise we do, Jeb, we have to go back and rewrite our messages on a, every so often. Do we know anything about whether or not we will need to continue to do that?
The thing with launch control is that their system does the rotation for us. They have short codes that we use or that they use in their system so that all our messages are always different. So for example, it's just a synonym of buying, looking to sell or something. These get rotated in the texts. So
Do we know if that's going to be necessary moving forward or not?
that one I am not sure of, boss. Yeah.
Okay, so Caleb, we don't have an answer to that, but once we have an answer, we'll try to share that. Is this just for mass texting or any kind of texting, even having communication with the seller that called in? Mel, I think we already answered that. Once we've had communication with somebody, we don't have that opt-in language, but no matter what, you do need to register your, if you are texting at this point in time for your text to be delivered, whether you're just responding to people or if you're text marketing, your numbers still have to be registered for them to be delivered. Let's see. Well, Dennis, I've had good success with Roar. Launch control is much more complex. We have launch control as well, just not a lot more hurdles. Yeah. Roar is just a blast. Now, then the $1 million question is that whole click to send thing that we have to do with like a launch control versus just blasting out text messages. Are we now allowed to blast out text messages since we registered our campaigns? Do you know that answer, Jeb?
Sorry, boss, I don't get quite the question.
So there's you load a list and you push a button and they all go out at one time, right? That's blasting. And then we have like launch control, we have to hit the space bar to send a message, right? Or whatever to send a message. And you have to sit there and just click to send the messages, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what is have you seen any documentation as to whether or not we'll be able to send out blasts where it's just send one click and send all the messages at once versus the launch control model now that people are registered?
No.
Okay, so we,
Yeah, I haven't seen anything specific on that, but each of the carriers based on your trust score. So that trust center, like basically like the rating system that they're giving to us as marketers, the individual carriers will limit the number of messages that like they'll receive from one number from one business, whatever, like in a day. Those numbers are pretty high, but I haven't seen like anything definitive. But the individual carriers will have limits themselves as far as like how many messages per day.
I think technically, I don't know if anyone can hear me, but I think technically to be TCPA compliant, you do have to manually click. The whole massive, but again, I have students that are trying to get into launch right now, and it's extremely difficult to get them into launch control. They're checking your Facebook page, they're checking your social media. There's a lot of stuff. LinkedIn, in some cases, it didn't used to be that way when I first started using launch control, but Roar still seems to be working well, and until they take it down, I plan on using it because it just works. But launch control is very complicated.
yeah. Let's see.
But as far as it
Go
being
ahead.
illegal though, like when you think of like texting a buyer's list, for example, all those messages go out once. I don't know if it's like legal necessarily to send that text blast out, but that one click button, that was definitely like a CYA, like cover your butt type thing for the carriers themselves, like so they don't get in trouble and have 15,000 investors that use their platform just mass blast messaging out, because then they're going to get themselves shut down by the big guys. So it'll be interesting to see it for sure.
So this is another question here, basically from George, and this is a Forefront question. It says, I've been using Forefront to call and text leads. Once I switch to one of the other dialers to register my numbers, can I still use the same follow-up campaigns previously provided in Forefront? The answer to that's yes. That doesn't change. You just because we're changing the phone system doesn't mean you're changing anything else is changing for you. So hopefully that answers that. Do we have any more questions? Jeb, you don't have to share your screen anymore. You can, yeah. Do we have any more questions? Anybody else want to jump in here and ask any questions? Like I said, we want to make sure every question has been answered and asked. You can put it in the chat or raise your hand. Connor.
Yeah, so just to go back to what I was asking earlier about registering, or about the registering each number. So when we were prospecting through texting, we were required to have various outgoing message templates for basically saying the same thing. And it was agonizing having to come out here and come up with different ways to phrase the same sentence, basically. So now that we have this registered, can we just go to like a single template, or maybe two versions of the template and send out, or is basically nothing changing and we're just having to register so they can put a face to the name of who's sending out the messages?
I don't know if anybody on this call has the answer to that question. I know I don't. And if anybody does, definitely put your hand up or put it in the chat or speak up. One of the things that I'm learning about this, so Kevin Carroll on here, if you know, has been deep diving into the TCPA stuff for probably almost 2 years now, right, Kevin? About 2 years.
Yep.
Following it. Yeah.
Probably 3 years now. Yep.
Following what's going on. Jeb has been an integral part of like trying to get us registered as a company on the real estate side. And so there's just been a lot going on. what I am learning more and more, just listening to what we're struggling with as an organization, watching smartphone and launch control and call rail. I don't think everybody really has the answers yet. I think this is kind of a moving target. One of the reasons that the forefront phone system is going away, because it's been a moving target. The dev team would make changes. They'd go to test it with Twilio, and Twilio would change their APIs. And so it's just been a big old moving target. And so I think everybody's trying to figure it out. So some of these things, as we get the answers, I think collectively more answers, we'll definitely jump on one of these calls again and try to inform the communities of some of these things that, with the answers we've gotten. But, a lot of the stuff, we're just going to have to see how it kind of plays out over the next couple of months. That's my impression. I don't know if Kevin or Jeb, you've gotten a different answer to that.
Well, I just know that if you're sending the same message format to everyone in your list, it's more likely that's going to be seen as spam. So that's all
Yeah.
I have.
Kevin?
Okay, so that
Well-
basically answers my question. Is regardless of if you're registered or not, you can still be flagged as spam.
Yes. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
so that's just it. So after you're registered, and this is important, but after you're registered, approved, everything's working fine. If you start sending out a bunch of spam messages that doesn't match basically what you had submitted and gotten approved for, and you start sending like a bunch of cold messages out and get really high opt-out rates, and right there from their phone, they can now report you as spam as soon as they receive that text message. So you can be fully approved, set up, registered, rocking and rolling, and you start basically spamming people and getting a bunch of opt-outs and spam reports. The carriers will take notice. They're tracking that stuff, and they can send you warning. They can start filtering down the number of messages you send, or it could even just shut you down. The thing is, there aren't like hard numbers saying, hey, if you do this many times, everything's subjective. There's not like hard rules and guardrails in place yet, but 100% you, after you're approved and registered, they can go back and warn you, shut you down, make you re-register based on new information. This isn't like a, hey, just jump this first hurdle and then back to the wild, wild west. This stuff is ongoing, and you got to play by the rules the whole time.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Any more
All
questions?
right. Let's see here.
No? Everybody good? Okay.
Yeah, actually, I wrote it in the chat, just a few questions, but I can just read them. Basically, I just heard about these a couple of days ago, so I feel like I'm a little behind on knowledge as most of you guys. So I'm just trying to understand how to even apply. So we're just moving from forefront phone system to the smartphone system, and I saw that they have this trust center. So I did apply over there. There was a kind of application. I think I made a mistake because we work under a legal DBA, and I put the DBA in there in the company name instead of the actual LLC name. So I guess this was a mistake. That's one question.
Well, they'll kick you back if it doesn't comply. They'll come back to you and they'll deny you. So you can re-register at that point.
Okay, and then after this is fixed and we get approved, do I need to apply to CNAM 10 DLC separately, or is there like one body to apply to, or how does it work?
For CNAM and Steer Shaken, smartphone will automatically implement that for you. So the one thing that you should only register for separately is the A2P10 DLC.
Okay, A2P. And how do I do that? Where do I do that?
We have published an article for Forefront users that covers tips and FAQs about A2P10 DLC. Let me just copy and paste that here real quick. So you guys can check that out. It also has the flow chart that I presented earlier. So yeah, you can use that as reference too.
Okay, thank you for that. One
course.
more question. Earlier in your presentation, I saw that that checkbox that should be under a form when you know a client fills in a form that they're about to submit on the website. Can you please share the wording?
Of course.
That'll be helpful.
Can you post that in the Forefront group, Jeb? That
Yes,
wording?
boss. Okay.
Okay, so she'll post that in the Forefront Facebook group. And then can you post that in our ICE communities as well, please?
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Of course.
And if you need it right now, she did just post it in the chat. So
And she did
Yeah,
post in
I
the
see
chat.
it. Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay, anybody else that's shy that doesn't want to ask a question but needs to?
this is one of those topics. You know, there's other questions out there.
Oh, there's burning questions. Okay, so a couple of things I want to hit on. First, I want to give Jeb a round of applause, everybody. Jeb, just to kind of say this, Jeb is an introvert. This is her biggest fear to do something
I'm so
like this.
proud.
She stressed over it and she did such an amazing job. If everybody thinks Jeb did an amazing job, maybe just give her a thumbs up in the chat or give her a thumbs up on, on your screen. So she is a rock star, and this, like I said, she's overcame her biggest fear. So you did a great job.
Thank
girl.
you, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
100%. Yes.
You really did.
Happy to
You
help.
really did.
Yeah.
Always proud of you, and I'm always thankful to have you on my team. So a couple last minute things. So those of you on the call from our ICE community know who I am. Those of you on the call from Forefront may not. So my name's Don Costa. I've hosted a podcast called Flip Talk for the last 7 years, and I'm actually part of the ownership team of Forefront now. I've taken over Forefront from Danny. I've kind of kept that on the down low, but as effective January 2023, I've taken over the ownership of Forefront. Kevin Carroll is part of my team. You've seen a lot of him lately. Jeb and Janelle on the customer support side. We're working really, really, really hard as a community to make Forefront the best CRM out there. Customer support is one of the things we're working hard to take up to a whole nother level. Jeb's going to be the one doing that and making that happen. And we are looking to add some more things. So comps in the pro system and above, that was something that myself and Kevin and another gentleman, Gavin Timms, had decided to bring to the table. We have the hot lead indicators. We have all kinds of really cool stuff around the corner that we're bringing to the table. I've been a real estate investor for 20 years. I have done high volume, over $1 million in assignment fees in a year, well over 130 rehabs in a year. I sent out over $1 million in postcards, a million postcards in a year, not $1 million worth, about $500,000 worth. So I understand the business at a very, very high level. And so we're working very, very hard on the back end to just add the features that are going to make your lives so much easier. In the meantime, I just want to say please pardon our dust as we're working through some of these things. And any feedback you all have, you can reach out to Kevin, via the Facebook group or via email, Kevin@forefrontcrm.com, or even myself, Don @forefrontcrm.com. And, we'll definitely do what we can to make sure this is a great experience. So I'm happy to be part of the Forefront family. I'm happy that you guys are all part of the Forefront family. And then for our ICE members, our Inner Circle Elite members, I'm always happy that you guys are part of our family. So I do run, just for everybody on here that's from Forefront, I do run a mastermind community called Inner Circle Elite. I have for almost 5 years now, and a lot of our members are on here as well. So with that said, thank you for taking the time to be on this call today. Reach out to us if you need anything. If you do have burning questions, you haven't got a chance to ask them here, ask them in the Facebook group. And I saw Nick, you unmuted yourself. So you got a question, buddy?
Thanks. Actually, since I have you all here, and you mentioned Forefront. Is it okay if I actually give you a little feedback now?
Not if it's negative. No, you can do that.
No, it's actually
Go ahead. I'm teasing.
It's not negative. It's just something that we really would like to see changed. So it's like it's a feedback. It's not necessarily negative, but just something that you're probably aware of it already. But if you wanted to be said, privately, I can just reach out.
No, go ahead. No, you're good.
Okay, we are right now. Our business is growing. And we're hiring more people. We're moving to a larger office. We're going to start working in other cities or other counties other than what we've been doing in the past years. And the one thing, and we definitely see Forefront as a long-term partner. We like Forefront. I think that's probably the most investor-friendly, customizable CRM we've seen. So that's good. The one thing after the last update, you can't really log in easily to the app. So as an owner of the business, when I have one of my acquisition managers making a phone call or text, and I get the notification, and while I'm driving or doing something else, I'm clicking on the app, it always asks me to basically put my username and password over and over and over again. And that makes it problematic to monitor the business. I would really love if that changed, and maybe you could add a feature that saves, the password and the username, other than, you having to just input it every time.
So here's where we're at. Danny Johnson, who has been a friend of mine for probably 8 years now, built an amazing product and an amazing team. But what I will say is it's a small team. Okay. So, it's like trying to turn a big ship. Whenever we try to do anything, we're looking at, months of, planning, development, and hard work, because it's not a big team. So we are aware of the app issue. It is something that is, we know is a big issue and that needs to be addressed. I'm actively looking for the right app developer to help us rebuild that. So it's one of those things where it's like, as soon as we can find the best way to fix that problem, we're going to fix that problem. Okay. If that's fair. So I am a user in Forefront myself at this point in time. I'm seeing the issues. I'm going in, and I've never been a guy. I'll tell you, like, I've run my business from a high level. We did 200 properties a year, and I couldn't tell you what cross streets they were on. So when I've never been the guy, who used a CRM. We were in Podio forever, and it was like I wouldn't be able to tell you how to get around Podio. My team did everything. I am committed to going in there and making calls and comping properties and doing things from the user perspective in Forefront, so that I can understand the challenges from a user perspective and help Forefront become what it is destined to become. So we're like well aware of a lot of the challenges and feedback, especially the app issue, and we're actively looking for solutions, Nick. And so hopefully that answers your question. Yes, it is on our agenda. Yes, it is something we'll get done. To be honest with you, I need to find a good app developer, because our dev team, it's one of the reasons why you're having issues. They're not app developers, if I'm being real and transparent. And so I think I have a lead on somebody, to be honest with you, that came out of left field from somebody I didn't expect to get a lead on an app developer from, and it may be sooner than I had expected it to be. So, but with that said, we got some amazing things coming around the corner, some amazing tools. We're looking at ways to help you all make money easier, quicker, faster, without brain damage. We're going to be launching some education portals within the platform and we're not just going to, it's not just going to be myself and, my team educating, but we're going to collaborate with other coaches and people that are reputable in the industry to provide content to the Forefront community, so that you'll all have access to, a good knowledge base to help you be more successful from an implementation standpoint, not just from an app standpoint. So there's all those things coming around the corner. It's just the time of implementation, to be honest with you. And we're going to move as fast as we humanly can. Like I said, my number one priority is user experience and customer support. And those are things that we're working on behind the scenes diligently to get resolved. So hopefully that helps you.
All right. Well, I appreciate the answer. Thank you very much. We'll wait patiently until this problem
Yeah.
solved. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we'll update. If you notice, the team has been really, really good at updating changes and stuff like that in Facebook. So we'll be updating anything like with the app or anything else that happens in the Facebook channel, as well as email, to make sure that you are all getting the information you need. So anybody on here that wants to talk to me offline about their business, or anything that we're doing that where we may be able to, maybe I can give you some advice or help you with your business for in the forefront community, just reach out to Kate. Kate is my assistant, and you can email her at kate@fliptalk.com. That's kate@fliptalk.com. And she'll schedule something with you. If you want to find out what we got going on, on outside of Forefront, just go ahead, and she dropped her email in the chat. Email her and she'll get you on my calendar. So with that said, I don't think we have anything else. Kevin, Jeb, Kate, we're good.
Yep. Good.
Okay.
Jeb, you did fantastic. Thank you.
Rock star
Thanks,
girl.
Kevin. Thank you.
Just
Okay.
just for the ICE member and the ICE accelerator people, book your hotel.
Book your hotel
That's
for
all.
Charleston, August. All right, guys. Thank you,
Hey,
everybody.
there's been a bunch of side conversations going on in the chat about that. I'm shocked. Like 5 people on the call already have their rooms booked in Charleston, and yeah, so they're good. They're good.
All right.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
All
All
right,
right.
see you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
you, everybody.
everyone,
Bye.
for being here.
Thank you again.
Thank
Bye, guys.
you. Great job, Bebe. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Recording.